All right, here we go. It is a brand new Flyers Daily for the 26th of, September 2025. Flyers Daily presented by Ticketmaster. Make more memories live. TK, Travis Konecny, going to join us for a little talk, a little conversation about the start of training camp, the start of a new season, and about the evolution of his leadership. I think that's a fascinating part of the discussion, is him talking about learning as a leader, when to go into certain elements of leadership. When it's time to cut the tension, when it's time to be serious, when it's time to hold himself and others accountable. That's the evolution of a leader. So we'll talk to TK about that in just a couple minutes. We're going to talk about the power play with some comments recently that Sean Couturier made. And we're also going to talk about the game last night, which was a pretty brutal game. Preseason hockey. Capitals did put out a pretty NHL lineup in Hershey for their home Hershey Bears fans at Giant Center in Hershey. Beautiful place, by the way. Flyers had some NHLers there, including Travis Konecny, who played his first game. He debuted his game in the preseason. Rodrigo Abels played in his third. Also playing in multiple games now is Alex Bump, Denver Barkey. We saw Noah Cates again. We saw Nick Delarier again. We saw Jet Lachenko. Nikita Gorbenkin. Really, my takeaway from the game, I didn't think, that Kolosov had a good game in the 2 periods he played. But let's go to Vladar first. He only gave up the 1 goal in the first period. It was a power play goal with tons of traffic around him. Really nothing he could do about it. Couldn't even kind of see that puck at release, let alone where the shooter was at, really at the hash mark, that down low. The Flyers got really sucked down low on their penalty kill and really collapsed on their net. And that made it just very difficult for Vladar to make that save. Otherwise, I thought he looked good. Now, Vladar's a goalie, big. He's going to use his body. He's going to use angles. He's not going to take a lot of ice and be very acrobatic because he doesn't need to be at his size and the depth that he plays at. Very under control, good play reader. When he has to go into full-blown compete, panic mode, or whatever you want to call it, desperation, he'll go into that, and that'll happen at times. But it won't be as much as some other goalies who take a lot of ice. As far as the game that Kolosov had, I thought Kolosov had 3 good periods leading into this game. Tonight, I didn't think he had a real good showing. Now, on a 2-on-0, the goalie's not supposed to make the save. But what he did on the 2-on-0 was he just kind of backed his way all the way into the net flat, looking to move across, expecting a pass, and just showed so much net that it makes it easy for the guy with the puck to go, why should I even pass it? You're showing me all this net, I'll just beat you. And that's what happened. Another one squeaked through Kolosov's legs on kind of a seeing eye puck that came from a low to high play. But again, why was the middle of his body open so much? He's so spread that the 5-hole was so pronounced that that's where the puck ended up going through him. And I think it was because the prior goal where Helgi Grans just got turnstiled on the outside, and then Kolosov got stretched out and beat. Stretched out to his glove side along the ice. And I think he's trying to stretch out on that next goal to prevent that, but that opened up so much in the middle. So there's a lot of elements to his game that need to be sharpened, as we know, and dialed in. He defaults low a little bit too much still. And it seems as if one of the habits that he's coming out of international or European or KHL with is that he's not used to guys attacking the blue paint like they do in the NHL. And this wasn't even the NHL, but he's not used to that. And when you're playing against him, you're going to put a ton of traffic around him because of his size. So it's going to be something that, unfortunately for him, he's going to have to deal with. So maybe a bit of a step back after some initial good play in the 3 periods he played prior to that last night. Does it mean a ton? No, this is preseason. We can't take too much out of these games. I thought that some of the young players in the lineup that are fighting for spots, and there were a few in the lineup last night that are fighting for spots. I mean, Abels probably is, but he's a veteran, so we'll kind of put him aside. But Bump's fighting for a spot. Gorbenkin's fighting for a spot, a forward spot, and Jet Lachenko is fighting to stay with the Flyers or go back to Guelph. And I didn't think any of those guys played poorly, but I don't think that any of those guys put anything out that made you go, wow, in that game last night. Now, Lachenko's coming back from a lower body injury and working his way back. He was held out of rookie camp. His skating looks fine. He looked fine in the scrimmage. as far as Gurbenkin in the rookie camp and the first preseason game, I thought he looked really good. He just didn't jump off the ice or off the page last night as much. And I didn't think Bump jumped off last night as much either, even though he was playing on a line with Travis Konecny on that line. So maybe a missed opportunity for those guys. I don't think there was any net gain. I don't think there was any net loss. So kind of a wash for the three of those guys coming out of last night. Somebody may have had an opportunity to maybe move ahead in this competition for one of those winger roster spots for the Flyers out of camp. On the defensive side, we saw Cam York run the power play. That's something I want to see this season. I want to see Cam York on the man advantage with some consistency because he's done it at other levels. I think he's got the right skill set to be successful at it. And I think he also has the right calm demeanor. I think that guy, that single defenseman on the top power play unit, has to have a very calm demeanor, calm handle to not overreact, because when you overreact, you bumble pucks, it goes up the other way, and it's usually an odd man rush the other way. And you give up really good shorthanded chances and probably shorthanded goals. So I'd like to see Cam York get a legitimate shot. I think Drysdale's going to get a shot there as well. But I think York absolutely should be one of those guys that gets a shot. And we'll talk more about the power play in just a couple of minutes. Well, we'll talk about it now before we get to TK. Because Sean Couturier said in the last couple of years, guys were afraid to make mistakes on the power play because they felt if they made a mistake, they'd be pulled off it. Now, that was true. Last year, that was absolutely true. The changing of the power play last year, the personnel, it wasn't game to game. It was sometimes period to period. And I can understand guys having that fear of not wanting to make a mistake on the power play for fear of being pulled off it. Players want power play time because it is usually something that is earned. It's, hey, you want power play time? You got to be good 5-on-5. You got to do the things I'm asking. You got to nail my non-negotiables, as Talk calls them, staples. And that's how you get your way to get the opportunity to eat on the power play. So guys are always looking to get to the power play. And when you get there, you're definitely afraid to lose it because of making a mistake. First of all, that's the worst mentality to go into a power play with. You want a power play player to be free of mind, creative, advantageous. You're in a man advantage situation. And if you're out there as one of the people that's afraid to make a mistake, you're never going to be successful. So maybe that was a cannibalizing power play last year because of that. Now, a couple of years ago, they did stick with the same group and it didn't work. And eventually, I think they got to a point under John Tortorella where it was, I can't just keep doing the same thing when the power play is not successful. And again, it wasn't just that the power play wasn't successful. You guys saw it. It was how it looked. I mean, if you went in between periods into the dressing room and the team had two power plays and they looked like they looked last year, it'd be hard to not push a button and go, we got to do something different. We got to change the personnel, because what I'm watching when this team's on the power play is brutal. So I think it became one of these things that it started to just cannibalize itself and got to a point where guys are, just squeezing their sticks, afraid to make mistakes, afraid to be creative. If the only way to really generate offense in the NHL, other than traditional methods of getting the puck on net and crashing the net, is by not being afraid to make mistakes, about being creative and going, you know what? There are going to be times when I'm creative and I make a mistake and there's a rush the other way. I try this pass and a guy reads it and he jumps in the lane and they go on a 3-on-2 and they score on us. But my creativity and the fact that I'm not scared to try and make a play, all said and done, is going to be net positive to the times when it doesn't work. That's what you need. That's what power play players need. If you have guys afraid it's going to be taken away as quickly as they got it, that's just a recipe for disaster, which is, I think, one of the reasons why we see a coaching change in large part. You can't have that mentality in this sport. I can't imagine you have it in any sport. I didn't play the other ones a lot, so I don't know. But making mistakes in hockey is part of the game. It's a game of mistakes. There's mistakes all over the place. It's why when the Flyers get scored on or they score a goal, I love looking at the goal, not from just the moment from pass, shot, score, But beyond that, where did the mistake happen? Sometimes the mistake happens 180 feet from where the goal is scored. You can't be afraid to make mistakes. You got to push and it's got to be unpredictable, and it can't be safe, and it can't be like in football, just being a game manager. You can't manage hockey. You have to play it free of mind and not afraid to make mistakes, but you have to be smart. You do have to be smart when it comes to reading plays, reading threats, and situationally, you need to be smart. You need to go, okay, I'm at the end of a shift in the second period, and it's a 2-on-4. We're coming through the neutral zone. I need to get a change. Probably the best move here is just to chip it deep down below their goal line and get off the ice. Give them possession and go from there. And it's a game of ebbs and flows. And there's times when maybe you don't do that, and you go into the middle of the ice, you turn it over, and it goes the other way. Or you don't get it deep, and you shorten the ice for the other team. And because you can't, they're playing on a shortened ice, and you can't get in your structure, they go in on an odd man rush and get a great scoring chance or a goal. So situational things, time and awareness, they're all very important. But you got to play this game free of mind. Thought those comments were really interesting. So we'll see how Rick Tocchet and his staff handles the power play. If it initially struggles, do we see personnel changes right away? Because a power play has to gel. It takes time. It's not overnight because it's a different way of playing hockey. Your 5-on-5 is you have your structure and you rely on it to a pretty large degree, especially in the neutral zone and the defensive zone. In the offensive zone, a little less. There's things you want to do, obviously, on your forecheck. If you run a 2-1-2 or a 1-2-2, you have things that you want to do when you dump the puck. But when you have players like Mishkov, who's so positionless offensively, you got to be ready to read, and that's a little bit more kind of reactive. But on the power play, you do have sets, and you do need to learn where guys like to get the puck, where they like to switch to, where, who is best served to get to open ice on the back door when the puck's on the left side on the half wall. And how are you going to free that guy up when the other team's in a diamond door box? You got to figure those things out by what you show them to get them to react. Like we saw the Tippett power play goal 2 games ago, and it was a little pass back and forth with Dvorak that traded just enough space for Tippett to get the ability to step in a step and a half, take the shot with Brink coming in as a tip or screen option. So you got to figure all that out. And it just doesn't happen overnight. And they're working on special teams now. Flyers had a 5-on-3 last night. It didn't look good. I guarantee they haven't gotten to 5-on-3 yet. And 5-on-3 is probably even a little bit more complicated in a weird way than a 5-on-4 man advantage because it happens less. But power play is a big part of the equation this season. It's a big, big part of it. And Sean Couturier, I think, is going to be a part of it as a key guy on draws. On power play number 1, Dvorak probably on power play number 2 because of his ability on draws. The guys that are most likely to be on the top power play is going to be Konecny. It's going to be Mishkov. It's going to be Zegras. And it's going to be Couturier. They're your 4 forwards. Who's that point man? Is it Drysdale? Is it York? We'll see. That's likely the top power play. Or is Tippett, Forster? Who's on power play number 2? Is Brink a power play guy? Is York? Do you go 2 defensemen on the second power play with a Drysdale and a Sanheim, or a York and a Sanheim? What do you do there? So there's a lot of options and a lot of variability to it. We'll get these answers in the regular season. They won't be final answers because they'll change, but we'll get some of those answers. And again, though, getting on the power play is a reward. Players are going to have to earn their way to it. Rick Tocchet's not going to just give out power play time because you played it before. He's going to give out power play time because it's earned and because it gives the team the best chance to succeed. So we'll see where this all goes. But I think that's an important conversation to have. Speaking of important conversations, talking to the captain, an alternate captain, and a guy that's stepped into the leadership void more and more each year, from Claude Giroux moving on to Kevin Hayes moving on to other voices opening up more space to lead throughout his tenure as an NHL player. He's been in the league 10 years now. Travis Konecny is one of those guys that his leadership has been an evolution. So here's my conversation with Flyers forward, power play player, Travis Konecny. We are live at Flyers training camp on Flyers Daily, and joining us for a brief couple of moments is Travis Konecny. How's it feel to be back?
Good. Feels great. I mean, I always love getting back, get the kids into school, get back here with the team, and get some workouts and skates in, and maybe a little golf. So it's been fantastic. And then starting camp today, I mean, it's always an exciting time.
Wow, kids in school, what grade are they in?
They're just
preschoolers,
but it just feels like you're back when we start getting into a routine again, you know?
Yeah, dude, it happened so fast. My son graduated high school last year. You remember when he was like a little kid at the rink?
Crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts. Getting back with all the guys and some new faces. Fresh feeling?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, anytime you get a fresh, staff, players, whatever, it's a chance to prove yourself. It's a chance to show, what you're capable of, and also some new ideas and opportunities. And I'm really excited.
I know that Sean Couturier mentioned that he's tired of losing as a veteran. You only get one career. Sometimes I think as fans, we look at it and go, well, I'm a Flyer fan for life. You have one career.
Yeah.
You want to start moving that process forward. And it's really important. As one of the leaders on this team, and you stepped higher to that role each of the last couple of years. It's really important to show signs of that, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely feeling the same way as Coots is. I mean, I came in with the mindset of it's 1 year, next year, and then the next year, and next thing you know, I'm playing my 10th season, and it's like I haven't really got into that deep run yet, and it's a process, but I obviously believe in it. I signed here. I want to be here. I know Coots the same way. Sandy's the same way. We started this. We want to finish it. We want to be here for all the good stuff. And I think it starts with today. Today was they spoke with us in a meeting yesterday about like building bricks to a good foundation, and today was one of those bricks of just we went out, had a great skate, and we're pushing to. We want to make the playoffs. You
guys are bricklayers. You're just going to build that foundation.
We want to build it. We want to get in the postseason, man. That's kind of the bottom line.
You're a hockey fan. Watching the postseasons, you kind of get jealous, don't you? You see that atmosphere and everything.
I'm not a huge like I throw on hockey. I like following it, but when the playoffs come on, like I'm glued to it, man. I just think about the rink here in Philly being lit up and just like rocking. I love going to the Eagles playoff games, the Phillies, like that. I love being in that atmosphere, and just like I see those guys, I see Schwarber at the plate and the crowd going wild, and I'm like, man, that could be us on the ice.
Yeah.
And we're sitting in their seats, and they're watching us be part of something pretty cool.
There's a lot of vibe to that, isn't there?
Oh man, it's the best. It's the best.
It's a magical time of the year. And the last time you guys were in the playoffs was in the bubble.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe. What did you work on this summer? What are you looking to add?
I think for me, I mean, there's always stuff on ice that I want to get better at. Just more of a complete player. Tried working on a little bit more of a skill stuff this summer. I think I can add a little bit of that. And then probably the mental side of like trying to figure out where to be a leader, when to implement it, how to be kind of like a bit more firm in the locker room and let people know when it's time to like buckle down, but also be like the same guy I've always been, like having a great time. So
you can cut the tension.
I'm trying to figure out where the line is of demanding better out of people, but also, when the game's over, it's like, whatever, let's go with beer.
Obviously, Torts preached accountability. Rick Tockett's no shrinking violet either. He's going to preach it. But ultimately, accountability amongst your peers, the other players in the room, does that just mean more to you guys?
Yeah. And I think there's a good way to go about it. Like, if we're just all honest with each other from the start, and I think, like, when Torts was here, there's things you can take from every coach. There always is. And I think the core of the group was here with Torts. And if we can take some of that with us moving forward, of just like within the locker room internally, of just being brutally honest with each other, holding each other accountable, like those are the things he preached and wanted us to do within the locker room. If we can continue that, like, I think that goes a long way. You know where everyone stands, you know what people expect of you, and it's good.
Yeah, you heard the Florida Panthers talk about that element a lot after winning their second cup, and just how important it is. And I think even though we can't measure that statistically, it just means so much. And maybe in this game it means more. I don't know. I didn't play other sports like football or basketball, but I know in this game it means a ton.
It does, yeah.
TK, thanks for doing this. We'll be talking throughout the year as always, and have a great camp, man.
Thank you.
I'm so happy this game is back on the friggin' ice.
Me too. Let's do it.
Thanks to TK for taking the time to join us on this episode of Flyers Daily. Monday, Bill will join us. First home game coming up on Saturday when the Flyers take on the Boston Bruins. That'll be the first of a home and home. We'll be in Philadelphia at the Xfinity Mobile Arena for the first time. Coming up on Saturday against Boston is at 5 o'clock. And then they'll be in Boston on Monday night at 7 o'clock. And then you'll have your final 2 preseason games, both at home. One against the Islanders on Thursday, October 2nd, and then Saturday at 3 o'clock against the New Jersey Devils. And we're now 13 days away, sitting on this Friday, from the season opening, October 9th, against the Florida Panthers. We are really getting close. And things this week, Flyers had some roster cuts and moves that they made yesterday. There'll be more probably after Saturday. This thing will really start paring down. And those last 2 games of the preseason will really be some sort of dry run for the regular season. It'll look very similar to what we're going to see come opening night. Still may be some decisions, Bump or Bankin, Lachenko, and there might be some decisions there. Grugran's, Juleson's a guy. Is he going to start the season in that Rasmus Ristolainen role? He plays a physical game. He brings that element. We'll see. So still a lot to be determined, but we're getting closer. All right, everybody, thanks for joining us. Bill Meltzer joins us Monday. We'll talk to him about the weekend of hockey and much more. Join us then on a brand new Flyers Daily.